Estimates say 82% of you guys are terrified of math. This number only jumps to 91% if you're a 10th grader. Now, people are so scared of maths that if you insert a single stat into a statement you make, they are 93% more likely to believe you, even though I just made that up. Now, I realized that math is everywhere, and for this, I started off with thinking. This led me to a story when I questioned myself why math wasn't comfortable to me. Why didn't it just seem so easy to me? And then this led me to a story where Socrates and Plato, they were concerned with the origin of knowledge. So they call upon this slave boy, possibly sweeping around. I know, tough spot to be for a slave boy. But then they ask him a series of questions. And eventually, somehow, from this oblivious, unknowing slave boy, they derive a rather rigorous equation. What did they conclude? They concluded that it was in his soul. Now, that's some pretty deep stuff, I know. But if you think about it, all the knowledge you have right now and could ever obtain is within you, in your soul. Now, as I pondered upon this, I realized that maths was a language, an undeniable method of communication. In fact, it's a language that you've been spoken to throughout your life, even right now. But although you hear, you don't listen. For instance, considering the variety of flowers around, you might think the number of petals they have are random, but most have 5 petals. Some have 3, some have 8, some 13, 21, and this goes on to 55. Do you see the pattern here? Yes, that's the Fibonacci sequence. Each number can be obtained by summing up the previous 2. Now, would this be a coincidence? I think not. For instance, consider the shell of a baby snail. You can consider it to be like a 1x1 square. Now, as it outgrows the shell, it creates an identical room. And as it further outgrows this space, it creates more rooms using the dimensions of the previous. And with this, it ends up with another representation of the Fibonacci sequence, the spiral. Now, this made me think, isn't it wonderful how nature works? It turns out that incorporating such a sequence is optimal for energy absorption and sunlight reception in plants, and so much more. This sequence is everywhere in nature. If you search it up, you'll find it there. Next, I want you to look at this equation. What is the first thing that comes to mind? No, really. What was the first thing that came to mind? But what if I told you this is the underlying logic behind the beauty of nature? Yes, beauty so chaotic yet precise. It is the underlying logic behind from the spots on leopards to the stripes on zebras. It is the general form of reaction-diffusion equations. It talks about how particles move in space. And in this specific example, it talks about the Turing model, which says there are 2 types of particles, one activators and inhibitors. The inhibitors inhibit the action of the activators, and they move faster than the activators. This results in them reacting and diffusing based off the logic behind the equation and resulting in spots on leopards. Now, I want you all to think, I want to invite you all to think that math isn't just a distant theory. It is an omnipresent reality that's all around us, that in its chaotic beauty lies the voice of the universe. So let us not just hear, but listen to the voice of the universe. Thank you.